preparing the back of a quilt using binding. And the back of the quilt is showing some seams, and I want to cover those seams. I created the front and the blocks on my embroidery machine. So today I have my cat, and he is stuffed in my shirt because otherwise he is all in my business. This is Mellow. So I'm glad you're joining me. I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing. So I'm taking pieces of binding, which is this, and I'm doing the horizontal ones first. I'm using school glue and my iron to dry the school glue, and it makes it stick. And once I have this applied, I'll take it to my machine and I'll turn the quilt so it's top face up, and I don't have to use pins or clips, and I can just sew down the center. This one's already done, and you can see it's very secure. That's my iron going off. All right. So you can see my little cat's arms. He's hanging out in my shirt. So I'm gonna unpin this because it did not stick last night. I wanted it to stick, and it did not stick. All right, I made a mess of pins, and that is going to make my kitten go nuts. Nope, you gotta get out. All right, it's insane trying to sew with him anyway, so. All right, what I'm gonna do is use this school glue, and you have to make sure that it's washable because you don't want it to be stiff from the glue once you're done with your quilt. And I'm just gonna add that glue to the seam, and I'm gonna line up the actual place where the fabric meets in the middle, and I'm just gonna line that up and press it in place. I'm gonna do that with the rest of this. And make sure that you can see that. I hope everybody's having a great day. Let's put that glue all the way down. Again, making sure that you match where this comes together with the seam where that is sewn together. So I'll just give it a little peek, make sure it's there, and press it down. I'm going to do the finger press first, and then I'll put my iron. All right, and I'm gonna press this, give it some heat. I'm not giving it any steam, just heat. Okay, so now when I pull on that, it's not moving. And that's what I want. So when I'm done with the horizontal ones, I'm going to sew the rest of the quilt together lengthwise like this. And then I'll do all of the lengthwise ones at the same time, and it'll be one long strip. I'm gonna put on some music. Hello, thank you for joining. How are you doing today? I figure out how to get to the chat. Don't know. There we go. All right, please feel free to say hello. Today I'm just placing some binding on my quilt so that I can cover the raw edges. What I did was I sewed the pieces together one at a time with the backing, and I sewed the quilting and the backing at the same time for the front. This is what the front of the quilt looks like. So I did each one of these squares one at a time, and I sewed them together, and now I have to cover the binding. I'm just using glue. There, found it. There's all sorts of settings I can't see down here. What is this? All right. Okay, so here's the binding. And again, I'm putting washable school glue. And when I place the binding down, I want to make sure that the edges of the binding cover the where the binding comes together. The edges of the binding, I want to make sure that those match where the seam is on the quilt block. Normally I do embroidery. Today I'm just doing regular sewing. The technique is glue and a dry iron just to get it to stick. And it's pretty instant. It's very instant. Hello, feel free to say hi in the chat. Thank you for coming to visit today. All right, I'm looking to see if there's anything. I'm trying to see the live chat, but thank you for hanging out and taking a visit. I am covering some seams on the back of this quilt, and I'm using glue and binding. So a little binding, a little bit of glue, and it's pretty unconventional, but it'll wash out. And I'm trying to make the color the same, so I'm trying to match that. And I'm also simultaneously on YouTube, so if you want to visit my YouTube channel, it is it's in the link below. So I have my my binding cut to the right size for the areas that I want to cover. And I've been working on this quilt for about a year, and I put all the pieces together because I did each piece individually, and so that allows me to work with smaller pieces. So when I put them together, I have these seams on the back, and the seams actually, I'm going to actually cover them. All right. So I'm trying to see, I want to make sure I can see the chat. Feel free to drop a comment and say hello. Unfortunately, I can't see much. Hello, Becky. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate everybody's coming to see what I'm doing today. Again, I'm over on YouTube as well. And since TikTok is probably going away, I thought I would do some work on my live on YouTube as well. So if you want to come over there and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I'd love it. I do lots of different content. I do machine embroidery, and I do seaming as well, right? Straight sewing. This will result in straight sewing. I will probably do I'll probably do a sew on this as well, but right now I'm just making sure that this binding is secured, because when I sew it, I'm going to start on the opposite side, and I'm going to sew in the ditch. What that means is I'm going to take it to my regular sewing machine, and I'm going to sew inside of where it's sewn together, right here. I'm not sure I can see the chat at the moment, so. But feel free to type something in the chat, and I appreciate you hanging out today. And I'm using school glue, washable glue. Make sure it's washable. Don't use something that's not washable, because then it's permanent. So I'll run some glue along here, and I'll take my binding and I'll make sure that the this where it meets in the center, where it's folded, is going right on top of where the seam meets on the other side. When I'm done putting this on the back side, I'll go to my regular sewing machine and I will sew down the center to secure the binding tape. And then I'll turn it over to this side, and I'll use clear thread in my bobbin, and I'll sew along the edge here. I'll use something that matches on top, like black or gray, and I'll sew along the edge here and here, and then on the opposite side it won't show. You have to look very, very closely to see it if you need to see it or want to see it. Thank you for joining, and feel free to hang out with me while I take a little time to do some sewing. So I'm going to hit this with the iron just to make sure that it's secure. The iron helps to dry the glue just a little. So once the glue is dry, I can turn it over and be confident that these pieces aren't going to fall on the floor. And now I've finished doing the horizontal pieces that I'm going to do. And the next step is to go to my sewing machine. Let's see. Make sure that this one is secure. We still have a pin in there. Alright, pin is gone. The whole point of this is to not have to sew over pins. Because I could pin it, and if I pinned it, then when I took it to my sewing machine, the pins would be on the back when I sew it on the other side. Alright, here's some that's not sewn down very well. See, this is not glued down well, so. I didn't put enough glue, I think. And then I let it sit last night, and I didn't put the iron on it when I did this, so that's why it's still a little bit loose. So please feel free to drop a comment. Let me know how you're doing today. Hope everybody's having a good day. What's nice about the washable glue is I don't have to worry about getting it on my tools, because it just washes right off. And also, when the glue is dry, it does not gum up the needle. It will not make your needle gummy. Sorry, YouTube. I know you're trying to find what I'm doing. Okay. I'm gonna have to move the cameras over so I can to my machine. I'm gonna move my cameras over to my machine. I'm not making play food today. I did do play food yesterday, but today I'm doing my sewing for my quilt. But these are the things that I made on my machine yesterday. I made pancakes and waffles, and bacon, and these are the little play foods that I made. Also made an egg and a donut. Oh, it's gonna have to be over here. Okay, I'm gonna set you here where you can see the needle on my machine. I hope that works. Hopefully I don't knock my iPad on the floor. So my machine gave me an alert to clean my clean the lint out from underneath my my needle plate. So I'm gonna take this out of here, and I'm gonna take this out, and I need to clean the bobbin mechanism. So I'm gonna use this little brush that came with my machine, and I'm just gonna use that and collect some of that lint. And it doesn't look like there's any lint in there when I visually look at it, but when I put this here, when I put it here, I've got plenty of lint. So I just take that off of there, and it's kind of like brushing the teeth of your sewing machine. So you need to do this every project or so. I guess when you change your needle is probably a good idea. Also, you'll find thread in here, and if you do, if you sew like really fuzzy things, you'll have a whole lot more lint in there. It just helps your machine do better. Also, I'll look at it and see if it needs some oil, but it's looking pretty well lubricated, so I don't have to worry about it. But anywhere I see a little lint, I'm going to use this brush and I'm going to push it down in there and get rid of that lint. I want to get this machine ready so I can, oh my gosh, look at all that lint. That's terrible. But I'm going to get this machine ready for straight sewing. I'm just going to clean this. But again, you want to clean this out probably, you know, I would say at least once after every project, or give yourself some sort of calendar alert or something. So when you put this back in, you're going to line up the little notch right here with the notch that's in the machine down here. there's a little arrow, a little notch. So I'll just slide that in there nicely and make sure that they match. So, and then there's going to be a little play in there, which is fine. I'm going to slide this back in here, press that down, and say, okay. Now I have to switch this machine. It is an embroidery machine, but I'm going to do some straight sewing. I'm going to use clear filament in my bobbin. And that way when I sew, the stitches don't show on the front of my quilt. Now I'm just gonna put this in my machine. Then I'm gonna start sewing it. Wow. I really am having a great day. How about you? Hmm? Feel free to give me a like. That really encourages me to continue doing lives. And I really appreciate you being here. So I've decided to use black thread because I feel like that's going to match everything that's in here. If I use gray, it's going to show up too much on this piece here. Now the problem with working with such a large piece of fabric is that it's going to pull while I sew. And a good way to help that is to put another flat surface to the left of your needle. So please feel free to join me over on YouTube. I feel like TikTok is going away, and we are going to be looking for other social platforms, and right now I'm working with YouTube. Okay, the last thing I have to do before I start straight stitching is I have to change my foot. Because this is a combination embroidery machine, sewing machine. Feel free to leave me a comment. I appreciate you being here today. I'm just sewing, and thank you for hanging out to sew with me. I would really love if you sent me a like or subscribe to my channel. So that really continues to encourage me to provide content like this. Okay, that feels tight on there. I'm using a clear foot so I can kind of position where this goes. And there's a little red there's a little red arrow on this foot so that I can guide it along. So right now I'm going to turn this over because I want to, oops, make sure my foot's on there. I want to turn this over so I can sew in the ditch. Again, I have clear thread, so the center one on here is going to be clear, and then on either side of them is going to be regular straight sewing, or sorry, regular machine thread. So the whole reason I glued that on there is so I don't have to use pins, and that way I don't scratch the plate, and I don't have to worry about breaking my needle. Bring you a little bit closer over here, YouTube, so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Thank you for joining. Here we go. Oh, I'm gonna make sure that my stitch length is not real small because, or real short, because we are simulating quilting in a way. But again, this is not going to show. I'm very carefully stitching in the ditch and stitching with black. Slow the speed down just a little bit. But yes, this red arrow here on the foot really helps keep things straight. Now I feel like, now what I'll do is I'll do all of these first and then I'll turn it over and do all of them the other direction. So let me see. I'm trying to remain consistent with what I'm doing, and I'm questioning what kind of thread I have in the top and on the bottom at the moment. I feel like I should be just using black on the bottom. So I'm gonna see what this looks like. All right, so yeah, you cannot see that at all. It is clear thread in my bobbin, and then I did some stitching in the ditch here, so you can't even see that. I'm just using black thread, so I'm just gonna keep going. But I'm gonna do all of the straight seams first. I'm gonna do all the top seams first, and then I'll go down and do the rest. This is very heavy to the left, so I'm trying to ball it up and get some more control over it. This quilt is going to be a king size quilt when I'm done. And this is just a small 1/3 of the quilt itself. Okay, now I'm questioning putting black at the top. I think I have quilted the clear thread at the top. So this is the clear thread that I'm using, and I put this actually in my bobbin. So please feel free to have a, you know, send a comment and ask questions. And I will look for those as I get a break from looking at my needle. Okay, let's get this open. Okay. There we go. So I want to put clear in the top. And I want to put black, I think, in the bottom thread right now. But I have to check and see what I was doing before. Yeah, threading clear thread is an adventure. But if you've never used clear thread before, it is such a neat thing to use in your machine. If you're, you know, if you're trying to use something that's not going to show. I was really hesitant at first to use it, but it really does work well. All right. So now if it strays off of the ditch, it won't show in black. It'll just be clear. I'm glad you're joining me today. I hope you enjoy the content, and if you do, please leave me a like and send a comment or a heart. That really encourages me to continue offering content online. So here's what it looks like now that I've sewn one and it holds it in place. Now, when I sew on the other side, I'm gonna sew I'm gonna sew on this side and catch the edges of this. And it's not necessarily exactly straight on here. I try to get where the fabric meets in the middle on the binding. I tried very diligently to line that up with the seam on the front, and I wasn't necessarily successful all the way down. So okay, for example, this one is not stuck as strongly as I'd like it to be, and it's coming off. So I need to iron that back on before I sew that one. So the technique is school glue and hot iron. Okay, now I've got gray at the other end here to match this. So I start I started the black. And I'm gonna do my best to line this up where this meets with the seam. Just moving and checking. Just have to check just to make sure that it's centered over. And this will be instant. I just have to put a hot iron on there, and that'll dry the glue enough so that when I take it to my machine, it won't move. It won't come off of there at all. I apologize if you haven't made comments, but I appreciate the love. Thank you so much for all of the hearts. That really encourages me to continue doing my content. So please feel free to drop a comment in the chat. All right. I almost prefer. No. I don't know where I put that. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's go back over to the machine. All right. Okay, where did I leave off? All right, this one's sewn, this one's sewn. This one's looking a little loose, so I'm gonna be careful with that. Oh, I'm sewing from the top. Okay. All right. This is gonna be a king size quilt when I'm done. I have clear thread up top, and I have clear thread in my bobbin. Thank you for all the likes. I have 23 likes. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for the love and the encouragement. And thanks for stopping by or scrolling through. And if I showed up on your For You page, I'm really excited. And if you've been here before, please feel free to drop a chat. Put an emoji in the chat. How are you feeling today? It is sunny and probably in the mid 40s where I am in the Midwest. Alright, since this one came unstuck, I want to make sure that I have this where it belongs. Okay. Okay. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the likes and I appreciate the comments. And if you want to follow me on YouTube, my YouTube channel is this Max Custom Designs _1. And I appreciate a like and a follow. Just like everyone else, it really helps my channel, and it helps me to continue offering the content that I do. With sewing, I do a lot of different crafting. This was made on my embroidery machine, and I did this one block at a time, and it took me a year to make all the blocks, and I am finally sewing the blocks together. And sewing the blocks together has resulted in raw edges on the back, which I am now covering with binding. So you can see here with the purple that's something that I have to cover. So this is a technique that I created on my own because I wanted to be able to do one block at a time, and I didn't want to have to have the entire quilt made before I started quilting it. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Oh, I've lost a piece here. Okay. All right, this has to go back on the iron, or I can just pin it because it is a very small piece. I'll be able to take the pins out before I get to that point. But the whole idea is to not have to use pins. Okay. It's hard to tell what I've sewn already because I'm using clear thread. And this is a bit of fabric that I need to do. This is only 1/3 of the quilt, or actually it's a little bit less than 1/3 of the quilt. This is actually the one of the end pieces, but the whole thing is these circles. This pattern is called a Mariner's Compass. And I think I'm going to make that a little longer. I have quite a lot of space between my needle and the back or the end of the machine. This is a really nice machine. I have a lot of room. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your follow. I appreciate it. I hope you're all having a great day. I was able to sew that one without checking to make sure that my my pin and my needle wasn't in the spot. I forgot it was there, so now I have to fix it. See this mess? Got a little bit of a mess to clean up. In sewing, you make mistakes, and when you are a good sewist, takes the time to repair things that don't go well. Now I could pin this on the back and sew it all the way down, but I use glue instead. And some of these came undone last night. When I glued it, I didn't have time to iron it, and I really thought when it air dried that it would stick the same, but it does not. All right, all fixed. Okay, so I am going to end my live on YouTube. Thank you for joining me while I'm sewing for a little while, and have a great day.